Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for League of Legends. In this video we're going to be featuring Dr. Mundo as played by XPL. This is taken from one of our Tuesday YouTube night custom games. If you're interested in joining us on a Tuesday night, there's more information about these games on the channel. Basically we play custom games 5v5 for anyone who's interested, followers of the channel or just anyone in general on Tuesday nights. And they're a lot of fun. It's a chance to get to play 5v5 games, which is something that you don't get as often in League of Legends. So in this game, we're going to be looking at Dr. Mundo, or just Mundo for short, as usually called, as played by XPL. Mundo did get some fairly substantial buffs in the most recent patch as I record this video. That was patch 9.7. Mundo was seeing a little bit of competitive play even before this patch, and I expect he's going to see a lot of competitive play after this patch because he was buffed pretty substantially. Mundo is one of the game's beefiest tanks. His big thing is he gets a lot of health, and then his ult gives him tons of health regeneration, and he just kind of soaks up damage. He doesn't really deal that much damage. He doesn't bring that much in terms of crowd control, but he can be extremely difficult for someone to kill on a team, and that's largely what his job is to do, is to just sit on the front line, soak up as much damage as possible, be really disruptive to the enemy team, and just be kind of a real pain in the butt for the enemy team, to the point where you don't really want to focus him in a team fight, but you don't really have much of a choice just because he will, stand on top of your carries and then just keep hitting them with cleavers, and then you're like, oh, I gotta kill this guy, so you start focusing your damage on Mundo, and then the rest of your team, rest of the enemy team murders you because you're hitting the tank that has 4,000 health as opposed to the carries who are actually killing you. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the laning matchups before we get started. So up in top lane, we're going to be seeing Mundo as played by XPL, up against Kayle as played by Myth. Kayle, really strong scaling. Kayle has been getting steady diet of nerfs after her rework because of how strong she's proven to be. In mid lane, I am going to be playing as Karthus, this is me, up against Impolite playing as Syndra. In the bottom lane, we have a Kog'Maw Bard match being played by Black and Saint Showdown against a Swain and Nami pairing played by Resiak and Troll Warrior. And then the junglers are, we have Batfleck jungling as Skarner for red team, and where's our blue jungler? There we are. And then T-Rex jungling as Vi for blue team. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at Mundo up here. I'm going to start by highlighting his passive. Adrenaline Rush, Dr. Mundo regenerates 10 health every 5 seconds, so it's 1.5% of max health, and so this is kind of the basis of how his kit works. He is constantly regenerating health, regenerating a percentage of his max health, so this means just innately you're going to want to stack a lot of health on Mundo. As I said, he's really a damage soak for a team. And this is part of what makes him tanky, is he's already ticked up another point because he leveled up. You get health when you level up in League of Legends, and so now it's 11 health every 5 seconds. We will see how ridiculous this can get before the game is over. Also, apparently he's running Grasp of the Undying as his Keystone Mastery. I can't pull up the stats on what that does, but Grasp of the Undying also grants you more permanent max health over time as you kind of scale it up over time. So lots of health. Kind of the basics to Mundo. You want health, and then his other key stat is cooldown reduction, which we'll get to in time. Alright, so XPL's put 1 point in each of his 3 skills at levels 1 through 3. I'm going to focus on the skill that he is going to max first, which is his Q, his Cleaver, officially Infected Cleaver, but usually just referred to as Cleaver. So this has a health cost, and that's true of all of Mundo's abilities. There is, in fact, a First Blood in the bot lane. So didn't see that. We'll continue to focus on top lane because this is a Mundo video. We've got a gank coming in. All of Mundo's abilities are based on having a health cost in addition to the standard cooldown that all the skills have. So he doesn't have to worry about mana. He just uses health for his skills, and then he gets his health back because he's constantly regenerating health over time. Alright, anyway, so Infected Cleaver has a health cost. It is on a short cooldown. I believe that it is on a 4-second cooldown. And I think XPL has some minor cooldown reduction right now. Let's see. Yeah, he has 8% cooldown reduction. Okay. So, Cleaver, just to highlight what it does, Mundo hurls his Cleaver, deals percentage of the target's current health as magic damage, no less than 130 there, and slows for 2 seconds. If the Cleaver hits, health is refunded, and you get all the health back if the Cleaver ends up killing the target. Alright, so T-Rex is coming here on a gank. Let's see if they're going to be able to pull this off. So the Cleaver hits, and that applies the slow to Myth. Myth is going to flash, and he will get out with the cost of his flash. So a successful gank from T-Rex, and that's going to give XPL a bit of an advantage in this lane because Myth has to be pretty careful with no flash up in this lane against XPL. As I was saying, Cleaver is your bread and butter skill as Mundo. XPL is scaling this up first. It is your farming tool, it is your wave clearing tool, it is your primary harass tool. As long as you are hitting the target and getting that 50% health refund, well, I guess it's not technically half of the health. What is it, 28 health back out of 70 here with 3 points in the skill. So you're getting a decent chunk of the health back again. As long as you're consistently hitting your cleavers, it generally doesn't put you in too much trouble to use this. And the other nice thing is you do get that slow effect. 40% slow is nothing to sneeze at, particularly if Mundo can start to stack up some cooldown reduction, as we see another kill in the black lane, another kill in the bot lane on poor Black, who's starting to fall pretty far behind now. If you can start to stack up a lot of cooldown reduction as Mundo, then you can get to the point where you can kind of permanently slow them with Cleaver, because, you know, slows for 2 seconds, and if you get enough cooldown reduction, you can basically just keep them slowed permanently. And that's part of, again, what makes Mundo Mundo. He just wants to hop on the target and stick to them, and make it really, really tricky for anyone to get away. And just, like I said, be super annoying to any carries that you might have. All right, let's look at some of the other skills here for Mundo. I'm going to highlight his W next, Burning Agony. So this is a toggle on-off skill. That was the little flame particle that you saw XPL using a minute ago. He's actually roaming down here to mid, so we'll see if he's able to pull off a successful gank. But toggle on or off, Mundo sets himself on fire, deals magic damage to nearby enemies every second, and has a secondary effect that people aren't as familiar with. While on fire, duration of disables is reduced. Anyway, right here, XPL is going to hit the Cleaver on Impolite, and then I toss down the Karthus wall, and that's going to force Impolite to flash out. So a successful gank from the top laner there. XPL had shoved in the top lane a little bit, and then roams down to mid and gets a flash. Not bad at all. Meanwhile, T-Rex has returned to the lane, wants to try to gank this, but it looks like Myth is going to be okay for the moment. And XPL is now back to look to lane again. He's a little bit behind in farm, but he should be able to catch right up here as soon as he gets this wave. There is the Burning Agony turned on. Pretty obvious when it's running. In earlier versions of League of Legends a number of years ago, there wasn't a very distinct particle for this, but now here in Season 9, it is very obvious when this is turned on and when it's turned off. Oh, we actually have a dragon fight over here. Really should probably be watching some of these other fights. Yeah, so we have a fight for the dragon. As it turns out, we are going to go 2 for 2. Both of the kills going to our Kog'Maw player Black, and that's pretty good. If we're going to get kills, we do in fact want to get them on Kog'Maw so he can get stronger. I Karthus ulted into the fight. It turned out that that was not necessary, so a somewhat of a waste of the Karthus ultimate. And as it turns out, red team does get the dragon. Honestly, we were lucky to go 2 for 2 there, considering how far ahead the bot lane is on red side. Resiak and Drow Warrior are ahead by a pretty good margin right now over Black and over Saint Showdown. 20 minion kills ahead, and I think 3 kills ahead up until Kog'Maw was able to get that double kill there. One of them coming with the passive, so not, as I said, not too shabby. All right, getting back to Mundo skills, I mentioned for the Burning Agony, while on fire, the duration of disables against Dr. Mundo reduced by 10%, and that's quite significant. It's one of the very, very few ways to get extra tenacity. Is it still called that? I don't know if they still use that term anymore. Aside from Merc Treads, one of the few ways to get that. So this is, again, one of the things that makes Mundo really tricky is he can kind of ignore a lot of crowd control. I mean, not ignore it, but he gets to the point where, especially once he starts scaling up this skill, when his Burning Agony is running, like, you can't really crowd control him, because he'll have Merc Treads, presumably, for the tenacity there, and then he'll just get more of it via his Burning Agony, to the point where, like, stuns have, I think, like, half duration, roughly. You know, slows have like half duration, so he can just kind of run through crowd control. Mundo is not necessarily the strongest one in lane, but he really does start to scale well as he gets more levels and as he gets more farm. He needs health, and as I mentioned, he needs cooldown reduction, so not surprisingly, Kindle Gem, the first item that we see XPL has picked up. I'm assuming that this is building towards a Spirit Visage, one of the key items on Mundo. Health, cooldown reduction, more healing. Again, Mundo's kind of needs to do healing, so all stuff that he really, really wants. I do want to highlight his other skills, so I'm going to highlight his E skill next, Masochism. Unlike the other skills, this one does not have a health cost, no cost. Passive, when Mundo suffers magic damage or pays a health cost, his magic resist is increased by 3% for 2 seconds, up to a maximum of 6%. Active, Mundo's next basic attack will headbutt the enemy, deals additional physical magic damage at the cost of health. and upon activation, Mundo gains up to 60 attack damage for 5 seconds based on his missing health. So there's a lot in that skill, and we're going to unpack that in a minute. Right here, we had a potential fight for the blue buff. T-Rex had to smite that. Wanted to give it to me as Karthus, but had to smite it because the enemy jungler Faflic was right there. I will get back to that, but I want to watch this gank attempt up here on top. T-Rex is looping around, and oh, Myth unfortunately checks the brush right there. T-Rex is going to use the Vi ultimate. We're going to see Kayle ult, and in comes Skarner as well. But the Kayle is just really, really low, and we're going to see flashes burned on both sides. T-Rex picks up the kill. Skarner is going to try to land the pull, but it does not work out. T-Rex gets the double kill, and we come out, my team comes out clearly ahead into 2v2. I actually really wanted to Karthus ult into that, but it came off cooldown literally as the fight was ending. Fortunately, was not needed because my team still picked it up, but it would have been nice to get 2 assists, and it would have been nice to get some more Dark Harvest stacks. I think I have 1 Dark Harvest stack so far. Would have been nice to get 2 more there. Alright, so that gives XPL control over the top lane. Unfortunately, the reverse continues to happen in the bottom lane, where Resiac and Droll Warrior are continuing to get ahead. I'm going to use the Karthus ultimate right there. However, the Swain ultimate runs out, gives Resiac that life back, and so he's able to restore enough health so that he doesn't die to Karthus ult. And like we said, we kind of have now a lane winning on each side. Mundo is winning in the top lane, and then the Swain Nami pairing is winning on the bottom side of the map, so a fairly even split right now. XPL's going back to buy. He has, in fact, picked up the Spirit Visage. As I mentioned, health regen, cooldown reduction. The unique passive increases all healing received by 30%. Extra magic resist. Useful in this lane against Kayle, who's building the Stinger and the Fiendish Codex into Nashor's Tooth. So just kind of a perfect item for this lane. And then the slightly magical boots have now kicked in for extra movement speed on Mundo as well. I mentioned there was a lot of stuff on the Masochism, so I just want to talk a little bit more about this. The big thing is, I mean, well, both the passive and the active are quite nice for Mundo. The passive, whenever he suffers magic damage or pays a health cost, magic resist is increased. So this is one reason why Mundo is particularly effective into enemy comps that have a lot of magic resistance. Or, excuse me, not a lot of magic resistance, a lot of magic damage, as we see a little fight going on over here by the dragon, but unfortunately T-Rex just kind of gets caught. And Saint's going to have to use the magical journey. Is that what it is, magical journey? Yes, has to use a magical journey to get out of there. And now, uh-oh, Black, this is not where he wants to be. Is he going to get grabbed by Skarner? Nope, actually not needed. So yeah, the bottom side of the map is kind of a disaster right now for blue team. But that means we just have to do better on top side of the map. And fortunately, XPL is now was able to get ahead in this matchup. And yeah, it's not going well for Myth, particularly because Myth is doing magic damage. And as I mentioned, the Mundo is kind of like really, really good against champions that do magic damage. And their lineup is very heavy on the magic damage. They have Kayle, they have the Syndra, and they have the Swains. They don't really have much in the way of physical damage at all. So this is an ideal composition to be playing Mundo into. Again, largely due to the way that Masochism works. Whenever he suffers damage, pays a health cost, magic resist is increased by 3% up to a maximum of 15%. So if he stacks that up, you know, 15% additional magic resistance, once you start stacking some tank items, that adds up to an awful lot over time. And between that and his ability to like run through crowd control when the Burning Agony is going, it just makes it really, really hard for a magic damage team to do that much against Mundo. Over here, we are trying to sneak this dragon. We really want to sneak this Infernal Dragon, but unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be warded off by the enemy team. We're trying to steal, and then T-Rex comes through with a clutch smite. Does manage to land that. However, T-Rex is going to get grabbed. She does manage to pick up the kill, and then I go in, which is a total mistake. I should have just walked out of there. Big, big mistake. I feed away a very needless kill to Faflic Skarner when we really did pick up the Infernal Drake, and that's just all we needed. I should have just walked out of there and, as I said, not fed away that kill. So, kind of covered the basics of Mundo. Cleavers, your main harass, main farming tool. Oh, well, let's keep an eye on this potential gank here from Saint before we do anything. All right, so turned on the Burning Agony, turned on the Masochism. Myth is going to get caught here. Nice dodge of the Bard ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. Actually, no, the Bard ultimate didn't come out. It was the Kayle ultimate that came out. So XPL claims another kill, and now he's really off and snowballing. He is way ahead of Myth right now, and his champion is kind of ideally designed to counter Kayle, particularly once Mundo gets ahead. Like I said, Cleaver, kind of your main harassment tool, good for farming. Burning Agony can also be good for that. You just have to be careful because, you know, you are losing health every second that you're running it. Lets you run through crowd control. And then the Masochism gives you that passive ability that's really good for stacking magic resistance. And then the active, you get the bonus physical damage based on how much health you're missing. And then finally we do have an ultimate, so let's cover that. Sadism, 25% of current health. Note it is not 25% of max health, 25% of current health. So if you are very low on health and you pop this, it will cost you almost nothing. Dr. Mundo regenerates a lot of health, 1,500 right now. Mundo regenerates 1,800 health, or 75% of max health. That's what he gets back, 75% of max health. So again, note the cost is 25% of current health, but you regen 75% of max health over 12 seconds, and then gains movement speed as well for the duration. Really powerful ability, just makes him extremely difficult to kill in teamfights. When he gets low, he pops this, and all of a sudden he's regenerating health at like an absolutely absurd pace. So XPL is going to do a little bit of roaming. He's come down here to the bottom lane trying to help out. As we mentioned, bot lane just not going well for blue team, being clearly won by red team at the moment. So going to claim that, running the Burning Agony to keep farming. Right now, XPL splitting his points between his W and his E. I'm not sure which one to level up. I'm not sure which one typically has first leveling priority. The Q definitely use skill first. After that, it seems to be a little bit more situational in nature. XPL did push over the tower, and now he's looking to roam around and make plays on the map. The one downside is this does let Kayle farm, which is not great. Kayle is great late game scaling. You don't want to let Kayle just farm. But by the same token, we're really far behind on the bot side of the map, and we kind of need some help. Oh, look at that, the Vial going over the wall, although it's actually the Ignite from Bard that picks that up. So Saint gets that kill. And right now we have a temporary 5v4 power play, so we want to look to see if we can do something off of this. Drill Warrior is going to flash away. XPL looks like he's stealing the jungle or potentially trying to get in behind the team. So like I said, we have a temporary numbers edge, and we can look to make a play. I am going to catch Impolite with just the tail end of the wall there, and that means that there's really not a lot that Impolite can do. So this is a pretty easy kill for us to pick up. That goes to Karthus. Again, the one problem is Myth was able to shove over that tower. So, you know, we don't really want Kayle to be getting that farming, but we are making good plays happen on the other side of the map. So XPL is going to come in. Drill Warrior does land the bubble, so let's see if we can continue chasing this down. Does hit the cleaver under Resiak, though. He's going to run the Swain ultimate. He's going to try to run out. I am popping the Karthus ult to try and add some danger. And they should be able to chase this down. Going to flash away from Resiak. XPL flashes behind. And we're going to end up getting that kill. All 5 members of our team involved in that kill, with Karthus coming up there from the ult from the mid lane. And now Myth is slipped in here. I probably should be holding this tower and not taking wolves, because that means Kayle's going to get another 300 gold. And hey, that's as good as a kill. So yeah, maybe not the best decision there. I think I could have held that tower if I'd played it, if I'd been a little bit more willing to stick to that area. XPL, though, has gotten really, really strong. He has finished both the Spirit Visage and the Adaptive Helm, so more health, more magic resistance, more health regeneration, and additional cooldown reduction, which, as I've already mentioned, really key on Mundo. He needs that cooldown reduction. And then finally, that unique passive, taking magic damage from a spell or effect, reduces all subsequent magic damage from that spell or effect by 20% for 4 seconds. So Mundo is pretty much unkillable as far as magic damage goes right now, 162 MR. And that combined with all the health regen he has means that he's just not going to die to magic damage like ever. Needs to be physical damage. I mean, he's just literally walking through this tower. He's popped the ultimate. Yeah, I mean, look at that. He literally just ignores the tower. And poor Impolite gets cleavered to death there. XPL didn't even hit all his cleavers. He missed a fair amount. But yeah, pops his ultimate. It just regens health at a disgusting rate. And then just runs around tossing cleavers and gets that kill. So again, we have the 5v4 power play. I was farming top lane. I'm now going to try to rotate down here. We'd love to get this Mountain Drake. It's not terribly consequential. It's the least important of the dragon types, but going 1-for-1 on the Mountain Drakes will be nice. It'll give us more Baron pressure. It'll make it easier to push towers later in the game. And you just never want one team to be stacking up dragons. So their team, red team, got the first dragon. My team has gotten the second and third dragons. And we've gotten the more consequential one because we have the Infernal Drake, and that's the one that's more impactful as the game continues onward and scales later into the game. In terms of global gold, though, their team is actually ahead right now. They're ahead by 3,500 gold, with most of that advantage coming in the bot lane. Right there, I'm able to catch Drill Warrior in a Karthus wall, and then T-Rex is going to be able to finish that off. So, hey, I'll take that Dark Harvest stack. Thank you very much. Nice stun there onto Myth. Very nicely done. I think that was the Bard stun coming out from Saint. Meanwhile, down here, Restiak's continuing to chase after Black. Black is very far behind in this matchup. Let's see if he can manage to escape. Probably should just keep running here. Yeah, probably should have just kept running. So, unfortunately, he dies, but then Saint's able to show up to make it a 1-for-1 play. And as I said, probably should have just kept continuing to run while Swain had the ult up. If we want to look at the gold here for a second, again, XPL is ahead in that matchup in top lane. He's the strongest member of our team. He is at 8,500 gold, has the most gold of anyone in the game. However, if you look at some of the other laning matches, particularly that bot lane, is just not going well for my team, for blue team. Kog in particular is really far behind. Actually has the least gold in the game, and that is not good on a champion like Kog'Maw, who needs to farm and needs to scale into the late game. In contrast, Myth has also been shut down in the top lane. I mean, he's 0-3-0, but note that Myth still has 159 minion kills, and Myth is actually not even that weak. He has, what, the third most gold in the team? He actually has more gold than the mid laner and the jungler because he's just really been power farming, which is exactly what you should do if you fall behind on someone like Kayle, who's a hyper carry. Just, if you can, farm as much as humanly possible because that's the best way that you'll be useful to your team later on in the game. So we've managed to make this a little bit closer. It's now about a 2,000 gold lead for red team, so very much up in the air. Both teams still have a great chance to win this one. We're going to see XPL go back. He is sitting on 2,600 gold, so probably should have gone back a little bit sooner to spend some of this money. But he's just going to continue to get more and more tanky as this game goes on. He is at, what, 2,700 health right now? So how much is his health? Yeah, look at this. His passive is all the way up to 42 health regen every 5 seconds because he keeps getting that 1.5% of max health back every second. And that will continue to go up as he continues to stack more health over the course of the game. Cleaver now at max rank is doing 30% of the target's current health, so good against tanks, not quite as good against carries. Jeez, I wish the text would stop disappearing. I'm trying to read this. And it does at least 280 damage. Also, the slow has gone up to 40% here at max rank at 4 points in the skill. And the masochism has also gone up. Yeah, look at this. When you hit 4 points, or excuse me, 5 points in masochism, you can stack up to 42% additional magic resistance. As you see me getting caught and killed and giving away a very needless death there. Yeah, at max rank, he can get up to 42% magic resistance. So yeah, that's a lot. Also can deal up to 139 physical damage at the cost of 65 health. Alright, over here, so we're going to see T-Rex look to engage, gets the flash out of Impolite. Nami has used the Tidal Wave. Black is trying to kite backwards, but it's a very nice bubble. Good Bardal. He's going to temporarily save this. And now we've got Mundo showing up on the stage. So XPL, again, just kind of running through the middle of the team fight. He is focusing the priority targets. He's going for Myth, who's doing the most damage. Now he's going to go for Drill Warrior, who is building AP and is actually pretty strong. So that's a double kill now for XPL. And Fatlick's going to flash out. Mr. Magical Journey is up, though, so he can continue chasing. This is when it's nice to have that Scuttle Crab up, though, because Fatlick is going to be able to run over the Scuttle Crab. Saint gets the slow on the Bard, and now XPL should be able to finish this one off. And he actually picks up 3 kills in that fight to go 7-0-1 on the game, and he was completely unkillable in that team fight. A fight that we really probably shouldn't have gotten into because I got picked before the fight started, and now I'm just looking to hold this tower down here against Restiak. But overall, yeah, we didn't start out the fight with a numbers advantage. I believe it was a 4v3 in red team's advantage at the start, but they just could not kill XPL at all. And in fact, this has prompted a change in Myth's build. I don't know if you saw this, but Myth was running Nashor's Tooth into, I believe he was going into Gunblade before, but he has changed that up. He is now going Blade of the Ruined King. And he has picked up a BF sword. So he has switched from being an AP Kayle, which is kind of the standard, into an AD Kayle, which normally is not as effective. Kayle does better when you build her with AP, but in this particular game situation, red team definitely needs someone who's going to deal physical damage. They cannot have all magic damage because Mundo is so good at soaking up magic damage. And you really saw that in that last fight. Just no one could do anything against XPL. He's now finished a Warmogs as well. So he's got 800 health, another plus 200% base health regen. So he's got plus 200% health regen on Warmogs, plus 100% on Adaptive Helm, and a plus 100% on Spirit Massage. So he's got plus 400% base health regen. And this is just starting to get stupid now. So what, his base health regen is 56 health every 5 seconds, and he gets plus 400% on that? So, I mean, yeah, it's starting to get really, really stupid. The Bardold is quite good, actually catches Impolite. Rest of the team not quite able to follow up on that. Saint is going to use his stopwatch to get out of that. Really nice use of the stopwatch, so Faflik is going to get polished off. The cleaver hits the slow on Resiak, which is what we need. And then just trying to apply those cleavers, a nice bubble comes in from Nami, so that might be enough to disengage. I mean, like, these stuns just don't even really do that much. He only gets stunned for a minor part of the stun duration. Probably should pick up the Merc Treads so that he can really run out of these things. But even with that, again, we cleanly win the fight. 1-for-0, get everybody out, including Saint, who looked like he was dead to rights at the start of that. And, I mean, Mundo goes where he pleases, apparently. He is just stupidly tanky right now. And their team really needs to figure out some kind of a way to deal with Mundo, because XPL is just hard carrying the rest of the team right now. And we are following Mundo wherever he goes on the map. Yeah, I mean, like, he gets hit with the Kale, was it the Kale E? I think that was, the Starfire Spellblade. It's either the E or the Q, but... and he's just back to full health again in like 2 seconds. About to hit 4,000 health. And yeah, he is just... XPL is not scared of anyone right now in this game. So, it looks like we might have a fight over this blue buff. Everybody from both teams is here. XPL is going to blast cone over the wall. And there are 3 members of the enemy team, but look, the rest of us are here. The Bardold is going to catch Faflik. A good disengaged tight away from Drill Warrior, so the fight is continuing over here. Most of the fight going on down here on the bottom side. We're going to see the Kale ult come in. Nice use of the Kale ult. That bubble is going to miss. I'm trying to watch this fight, but it's a little bit disorganized. We are going to see Saint get finished off. Vile from T-Rex. Another bubble coming in, landing onto T-Rex. Now Faflik's trying to disengage. Over here, we're fighting against Resiak. Remember, the Kale ult was already used, so that's down. After dying, I'm going to use the Karthus ult, and that should be enough to finish this off. So we're going to grab that one, and we end up going 4-for-3 in a pretty bloody fight overall. It's a split fight. I was trying to focus on Mundo's role in the fight. There was also kind of another half to the fight over here, where Red Team did a little bit better. But overall, pretty even, slightly better for Blue Team, because my team is able to push in the aftermath of this. It's a shame that we weren't over by Baron, and that we didn't have another person survive. Like, if we had Black survive the fight, or me as Karthus survive the fight, probably could have taken Baron off that, especially because we already have 1 Earth Drake. But with only 2 people alive, and with Vi and Mundo on the bottom side of the map, there's really no way to get over to Baron in time and take that. So we'll take the bot inner turret in exchange for that 1 team fight. The net result is we do claw a little bit further ahead. We actually have a lead in gold now after being pretty far behind earlier on, ahead by less than 1,000 gold, so it's still pretty close. And let's see what XPL is going to pick up here. He is going for Gargoyle Stoneblade. Oh god, Gargoyle Stoneblade. Okay, so when he uses the, grants armor magic resistance, got that passive stone skin. If 3 enemy champions are nearby, grant 40 bonus armor and magic resist. Yep. Really nice for Mundo, because he's just going to be running into the middle of the enemy team and getting that unique passive. And then finally the unique active, increase health by 40%, reduces damage dealt. So yeah, if the stone skin is active, health increase becomes 100%. So, I mean, he's already got 4,000 health practically. So if he uses that, he'll go up to like, what, 8,000 health, something crazy like that. And just be even that much more unkillable. So XPL's not really doing that much damage. We kind of needs the damage to come out from other team members. Like, he needs the Karthus and hopefully the Kog'Maw to get stronger, because, like I said, he's soaking damage more than really dealing the damage. His damage is not irrelevant. Like, the cleavers do damage, and the Masochism does pretty decent damage as well. But by and large, Mundo is there to protect your carries and to soak up damage from their carries, not so much to deal it himself. So what would be really good for my team, the blue team, is if we could somehow get Kog'Maw to get stronger, because like the Cog is just really in a weak position right now. The 7,200 gold is well behind everyone other than Skarner. I guess Skarner's in kind of a weak position as well. A little surprised that Skarner doesn't have more gold. But without Kog'Maw being able to have more damage, it does put us in kind of a riskier position. Myth in particular is Kale is level 15, so he is getting stronger. He's about to hit the level 16 Kale Burst, where he will become permanently exalted, and that's not good for my team. Kale just scales so ridiculously well. And Myth is getting to the point where he's going to be putting out enough physical damage that Mundo's crazy magic resist is not going to be as relevant. It'll still be good against the other members of the team. Like, it'll be great against Syndra, it'll be great against the Swain, it'll be great against the Nami, who, by the way, Drill Warrior was not playing pure support Nami. He was getting, like, quite a bit of AP on his Nami in this game. Well, anyway, we're going to see a fight initiated. We'll get back to the beautiful stun coming out from Saint. Lands a double Bard stun, so that's going to be 1 kill. I'm going to ult into this fight as Karthus. It's not quite enough to get another kill, so we end up going 1 for 1, and then it's a beautiful use of the Bard ultimate. I'm going to flash the wall Resiac. He is then going to flash after that, so we're continuing to try to get away. Nice stun on the part of Impolite, so I am going to get popped. So we end up going 2 for 2 there in the extended fight. Would have been a kill on Resiac, but he also had his flash up. And now over here, we're going to see another kill on each side, so now it's a 3 for 3 fight. But we still have Mundo up, and let's see who's going to win this duel between Myth and XPL. Unfortunately, Black just dies in like a second. Yeah, gotten to use that Kog'Maw passive an awful lot in this game. And Myth has gotten to the point where XPL does have to be at least a little bit cautious when Myth has his skills up. Still has a kill all. Alright, so XPL looking to continue the fight. Does miss the cleaver right there. Myth is going to use his ult. XPL is going to have to flash away. Myth's going to flash after, and oh boy, that's pretty aggressive. Look at all this health regen coming in. 32, 31, 31, 31. Yeah, XPL, especially once the Warmogs kicks in. Yeah, and now the Warmogs kicks in. It's like, don't worry. In 5 seconds, he'll be back to full health again. I mean, it's really disgusting. And yeah, he's back to full health again. Okay, so this is a really fed Mundo. He's 805. This is not going to happen in every game, but if you're curious about did they overbuff Mundo in this patch, my answer would be yes. I think they overbuffed him, and I think he's going to be a staple of competitive play, at least when they're on this patch, which I believe they're not on until mid-season invitational or something like that. It's either this patch or the one after this one they're going to use for mid-season invitational. But yeah, Mundo is yeah, he's pretty strong right now. Once he hits this point in particular, you know, sitting on 4 items like this, he's got crazy tenacity, he's got so much health resistance, health regen, and the magic resistance is just out of control. You cannot kill him with magic damage. It's got to be physical damage, and that's one reason why Myth was actually doing quite a bit of damage to XPL there, whereas Impolite and Resiac and Joe Warrior, their skills are just kind of, you know, bouncing off the Mundo and not having any effect at all because, hey, magic damage. The other thing that they need is they 100% need something that applies the Grievous Wounds debuff to shut down some of the healing on Mundo. They do have it in the form of the Morellonomicon. But anyway, we'll get back to this because we've got a fight initiated with the Bard ultimate, and so that is going to get Impolite quite low. Joe Warrior is going to toss the heal. I actually used the Karthus ult, which I thought was going to get the kill, but ooh, no, 41 health. So Impolite just barely survives that. Would not have survived it without the heal from Joe Warrior. A heal backed by 250 AP on the Nami, by the way. Yeah, Nami with Ludens and the Morellonomicon. So it's quite good for their team that they have 2 sources of Grievous Wounds to apply to Mundo. Alright, so we didn't get a kill, but we did chunk Impolite really hard, and so we're going to look to force a fight around this Baron while we know that they're, it's going to have to be a 4v5. So we're going to go in. Fortunately, TRX is clutch on the smite, manages to get the Baron for my team. We're going to see Bard and Kog'Maw die at the very beginning of this fight, and in fact, the fight's not really going that well for us. I'm going to Zanya's there, but it's not quite enough. So we end up getting 2 kills in exchange for 3 deaths on our part, but XPL is the only one left alive. But look, they've lost Myth. They have no physical damage. Everyone that's left is now doing magical damage. So XPL not really in all that much danger. He's just kind of walking around in the middle of their team, not scared at all to the 3 people. And so the net result is we claim Baron, but we lose 4 people in the process, going 4 for 2 in that team fight. Not a great team fight, but we do still have the Baron buff on Mundo, so we can look to push off the Mundo, who has, again, truly just become unkillable right now. 905 on the game. Yeah, and like I said, he just does not care. Trying to push this tower, it's defended by 2 members of the enemy team, but XPL legitimately does not seem to care. Just tossing the cleavers, walking around, being annoying. He's not doing that much damage, but he does have the Baron buff, so he's continuing to keep these minions buffed. I mean, they're landing quite a bit of crowd control on him, but he still hasn't even fallen under half health, despite their best efforts, and with that Grievous Wounds debuff on him. So now he's out of combat. Health, 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 health. There's the Warmogs kicking in, and yeah, he's back to full health. He doesn't even get back to base before he's at full health again. It is disgusting. Alright, picks up the Bramblebus. Looks like he picked up an Elixir of Iron as well. So now he's got the huge character model and 4,200 health. I'm assuming that this is for a Thornmail, which is a good last item choice there, just so he can stack up a little bit more armor to try and deal with the Kayle. Elsewhere on the teams, if you want to see who's strong, so again, XPL has the most gold in the game, but Myth is getting fairly close, 14,000. You wouldn't think that the Kale player has the most gold on the red team, but I think Myth has gotten a fair number of killing spree shutdowns, so he's gotten the bounties, and he's also just farmed really well. The 283 minion kills compared to 200 for the other solo laners. So yeah, those are the strongest ones on their respective teams. And then we have a bunch of people right around 10 to 12,000 gold. So gives you a sense of who's who. Alright, we are trying to force a fight here while we still have Baron. Unfortunately, Black is going to get really low and gets popped at the start of the fight, but we end up getting a kill onto the Skarner, onto Faflik. So it's a 1-for-1 thus far. And as it turns out, I mean, unfortunately for Black, he's just really far behind in that game. So it's a relative, I believe those are the two people with the least gold on either team. So we're in relatively good shape. Again, a nice Bard ult. I touched down the wall for the disengage. We really would like to use this Baron buff while it's still running on XPL. Again, his ability to regenerate health is so disgusting right now, it's crazy. He is just back to full health in an instant. Right there, a beautiful initiation. T-Rex sees the opportunity, goes in on Myth, gets that kill. Another crazy Bard ult. Look at that back there. As Zhonya's get popped on everyone on every side, we are going to actually end up suffering 2 deaths there. I'm going to claim 1 back on Resiak with the Karthus ult, but a really effective use of the Swain ult. He went into stasis with Zhonya, and then immediately on coming out of that, popped the end of the Swain ult and just bursted down me and T-Rex there. So overall in the fight, it's a 2-for-2. A better fight for our team because we were able to get Myth, who has really become the priority target on the red team. Oh, by the way, yeah, so they're going to Skarner ult XPL, but again, he just is totally ignoring the enemy team between 2 towers, still going after Impolite, claims 1 kill, now going after Droll Warrior. He's going to claim a double kill. Like, we're watching this in the game. We're like, oh my god, what is going on? Just walking between 2 towers, and he just will not die. Now he's going after Faflik, who has to flash away from this. Oh my goodness. He's like, what is this? XPL just... I mean, he is the raid boss of this game, and no one could stop him right now. So we end up getting a delayed ace of their team in the kind of the extended fight there. And my team's actually now 4,000 gold ahead, as it turns out, 66,000 to 62,000. The Elder Dragon has spawned. Both teams would love to get this, so the next fight's going to be over that Elder Dragon. Myth actually gets the blue buff there, and that is kind of a problem. But we are going to look to initiate on Myth again, and oh, Myth makes a mistake. He uses his ultimate on Faflik. Instead of using it on himself, it is not enough to save Faflik, but Myth is able to get out of there. And honestly, we should have put, probably in retrospect, more focus on killing Myth, because if we had gotten him, oh, we would have been in a much better position if we had managed to finish off the Kale when the Kale was isolated and alone. So we get the Elder Dragon, that's really good. And now we're going to have a chance to push with this, but they do still have the Kale up. And like I said, I think if we'd killed Kale there, I think this game would just be over right now. Because we'd have 5-on-3 with the Elder Dragon advantage, no Kale, and just no ability to kill anyone on our team. So again, we're looking to continue this push. We should be able to get this inhib, no problem. We are going to be able to burst that one down. And now at this point, we've got a minion wave in top, so our team's going to look to rotate over there and look to get to this top lane, claim this one, as everybody hops through the magical journey, even taking the blast cone behind us. So that's our goal, is to get this tower, and then if we can win a team fight, push on and try to get the inhib. Again, we're going to have the super minions helping us in mid. We've got the Elder Dragon to add that burn to our attacks. We do have to be careful about getting flanked though, and look, Faflik is over here looking to try and flank us over there, so it's going to be key to see how a potential team fight gets started here. We're going to use the Bard ult, and it does catch Myth, but we're not quite able to follow this. I actually get bubbled and die immediately, and that's really bad. We also lose T-Rex immediately as well, so it is not a good start to the fight for us, and we also have critically not been able to kill Myth. Look, he is still up, still able to continue DPSing our team, and now XPL is the only one still alive, and oh my goodness, raid boss down. XPL finally killed by the enemy team. He had so much gold that he's still on a 600 gold bounty even after he dies, but that was just a disastrous fight for my team, for blue team, because Baron is back up, and with practically the whole team alive, they're going to have no difficulty claiming this whatsoever. And now they will have the Baron buff, and they will be able to push with it in the next team fight. It was just a really good initiation. I got caught in a Nami bubble and then pulled by Skarner. I died almost instantly, and they were also able to burst down T-Rex. I don't think T-Rex was able to get off an ultimate in that fight. Could be wrong, might have just come off cooldown, but they kind of popped the two of us really quickly, And even though that was one of the better team fights for Black's Kog'Maw, he actually stayed alive for a while in the fight. Unfortunately, he's just far enough behind that he doesn't do that much damage. So with no Karthus and without getting an effective Vi ult, we just couldn't win that fight because they had way too much damage. Particularly again coming out from the Kayle, but also from the Syndra and the Swain in that fight as well. So they've won the fight. They now have the Baron buff to push with, and they also have double Earth Drakes. Again, the Mountain Drakes, Earth Drakes are not that useful, but in a situation like this, it will help them push over towers faster. So this is one of the situations where they will be able to put that to good use. Also, Myth is level 18. Level 18 Kayle, pretty scary. He is also sitting on a full 6-item build. So Kayle is probably the single strongest champion in the game at level 18, at least in the current makeup of League. Level 18 Kayle with 6 items, you're in for a world of hurting. Because there's just not that much you can do about Kayle. Note that Myth has basically maxed attack speed, 2.47, the cap is 2.5. Yeah, he's already running into the cap on attack speed, and he deals, what, almost 300 AD along with 150 AP, and all his attacks will be permanently exalted and deal true damage on the fire wave. So all of that is pretty terrifying. Nice initiation on the tidal wave, and then that's just going to lead to poor Black getting pulled and killed instantly. So yeah, sadly just a tough game for Kog'Maw. The 15 deaths did make it a little bit difficult for us because we were lacking kind of that. We were kind of lacking that second source of damage. I guess we had Vi, but Vi by necessity has to build fairly tanky. So most of the damage had to come out of kind of secondary targets. We had the Karthus, but that's kind of it in these fights. And now they have the 5v4 advantage, and they have the Baron buff, and they have the double Mountain Drake. So it's going to be really hard for us to hold these towers. In fact, we really do have to just give up this inhibitor. And I think we were hoping that they would fight us on the double Nexus turrets. I have to flash there because if that Syndra stun lands, I'm 100% dead. 100% dead, and if I die, the game's over. So have to flash that. But we were hoping to get in a fight by our double Nexus turrets. Unfortunately for us, Red Team is smart enough to know not to do that, and they're going to make the smarter, safer play of turning and looking to shove the bot lane, where they do have a minion wave, and where they can look to push in on a second inhibitor. Much better decision. The worst place you can fight if you're on the invading side is at the double Nexus turrets. It is the strongest part of the other team's defenses. Anyway, so they're able to get the outer turret. That just falls instantly. And then Black is going to get polished off, unfortunately. So we are looking to have to fight. We don't really want to fight because we've lost Kog'Maw again, but we kind of have to fight at some point. I'm going to use the Zhonya's to dodge that stun. Lots of Zhonya's coming out on both sides, but I'm going to get popped. Everybody is dead once again except XPL. He is the only one still left alive. And, well, as strong as XPL is, he cannot 1v5 the enemy team. They have too much damage. So we unfortunately lose Kog'Maw again at the start of the fight, and we just do not have the damage to survive this. And so they're going to push over the game, and that's going to be that. The enemy team, the red team, is going to win this one just after the 42-minute mark on a really fun, really close game. I thought that we were going to win that when we were at the point where we took the Elder Drake, but we kind of had a bad fight in the top lane, and then their team took Baron, and boom, that was that. The game swung, and they were able to capitalize on our inability to close that one out and end up taking this one. But really great game, fun game, back and forth. First red team was ahead, then blue team was ahead, then red team closed it out, and just a fantastic game for showing how effective Mundo is into a comp that's heavy on magic damage. Again, yes, Mundo was 13-2-7. He's not going to be that strong every game. XPL had 18,000 gold, so don't think this is going to happen all the time. But in a situation where Mundo can get ahead, he really can be just almost completely immune to magic damage due to the way his kit works. The key to this game was their team, red team, realizing that Myth had to build physical damage. If he had stuck on a magic damage build, there's no way they win this game. Instead, converts over to AD and ends up with, a crazy amount of gold, 21,000 gold at the end of the game, in part because he got all those bounties, but also because he had 350 CS. So props to Myth for doing what you got to do when you're on a hard scaling hyper carry and you've fallen behind. Farm, 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 farm. Get enough minion kills, get your 6 items, hit level 18, Kayle kills everybody. GG. Alright, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this game and a chance to see some of the gameplay for Dr. Mundo. Until next time, hope you're having a good week. Have a good one. Take care.